sleep apnea, CPAPs, how hard it is how do you get tested, what happens, what are the requirements, what kind of machines are there, how much does it cost, all that good stuff, how you clean them. That's what we're going to be discussing today on Trucking Along, so stay tuned. Thank you. Even Old Dominion is now testing for sleep apnea. So if you go to orientation and they give you a DOT physical, if you're over a certain weight and certain BMI, and if you have a certain size neck, then you're more likely to be tested for sleep apnea. Now, different companies do it differently. Some will advance you the money and take it out in your pay later. Some will make you pay it up front. If you go in telling them you already had a sleep study done or that you do have apnea, you're expected to bring in your medical records. If you were not diagnosed with sleep apnea, you have to bring in the medical records from the doctor saying that you were not diagnosed after you had a sleep test. If you were diagnosed with sleep apnea, you need 30 days compliance, a 30-day register report documenting that you've been using the machine. Now, I'll tell you my experience, and I wasn't too happy about it. When I first came to my company, which is Prime, they gave me a 2-month physical card. The first day I was there was September 21st, 2015. So they gave me the DOT physical, and I got my permit and all that good stuff, and they gave me a 2-month card so that I would have enough time to go out with my permit and then test. And then as soon as I got past the test and I got hired with Prime, I was expected to go get the sleep apnea test, which they paid for and then took $50 a week out of my check. So the first time that I went through this, no problem, I don't have sleep apnea, not diagnosed. They give me a 2-year card. 2 years later, when it was time to renew, I go for my DOT physical. They said, okay, well, you're still fat. Yeah, I know. Okay, I don't need a doctor to tell me that. All right, so I go and they tell me you have to take another test. I take the test, which again, they advanced me. I think it was $500, and they take it out as $50 a week. So this time they tell me, yes, you did have, you had the obstructions throughout the night, so you are considered diagnosed with a moderate sleep apnea, which you will need the machine. So this woman comes in and she sits down. She says to me, well, I have to explain, when we get older and we gain weight, this is likely to happen. I'm like, wait, so you're calling me old and fat? That's what you're doing. Like, I'm sitting here paying you $500 for this test, and then it's going to cost me $600 for the machine, and then $300 to clean a machine. So for like $1,400, I get to be insulted and have you call me old and fat. I could hear that from my mother for free. I really didn't need to pay that and go through like a night of wires all attached to my head and being uncomfortable all night. Like, they're really shocked that you didn't sleep during the sleep study when you're like attached to all these electrodes and stuff, right? So then she says to me, oh no, I'm not calling you old and fat. I'm just saying this is a fact of life, and it's a really serious diagnosis, and you have to do something about it. You need to get treated whether you're in trucking or not, because you can die in your sleep. I'm like, lady, I'm an over-the-road trucker, and sometimes I train students. Like, dying in my sleep, like in a parked truck, is a great thing. It's a hell of a lot better than flying off the side of a mountain like Vail or Donner Pass, like all covered in ice and snow and everything. And she didn't understand this. She was like, well, no, you don't understand, look at me, I'm only 110 pounds, and that means, and I have sleep apnea, so that means I'm diagnosed with hereditary apnea, so there's nothing I could do to make it go away. But if you lose weight, you can get retested, and it might just go away with you, and you won't have that problem. And I'm like, okay, so now you're telling me that anybody has the ability to have sleep apnea. It's not just fat people, it's anybody walking down the street, but you're discriminating against fat people. So then she's like, no, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying, yeah, because you know what? Now you're telling me there's something wrong with me. You know what? I'm 40 freaking years old. It took me this long in my life to like really like myself and be happy with who and what I am and not care what anybody else thinks. And then you in a doctor's office come around and tell me that I'm old and fat and there's something wrong with me. So you know what that means? That means that like now I'm going to be all depressed and you're going to take my my DOT card away because you're going to say that I'm depressed and I need some kind of like Celexa or some Cymbalta or Wellbutrin or whatever the heck they're pushing today for antidepressant pills, you know? So this lady was like, no, calm down, you know, all right, whatever. I got to do it. It's been 2 years now. I'm coming up on 2 years that I've been with this thing. And honestly, the first 6 months, I was so much more tired than I ever was. The whole time I've been trucking, the first 2 years, I had no problem sleeping. I was perfectly fine sleeping for a few hours and I felt rejuvenated. My mother said to me, this is the best that I've ever seen you, heard you feel or anything. And it's part because in trucking, I get to drive the way my body wants me to drive. If I want to drive for 5 or 6 hours and then take a 2-hour nap, I can do that and then keep going for another 5 or 6 hours or whatever, and then take an 8-hour nap or, go to bed, do whatever, take my 10-hour break. But this machine made me very congested. And they tell you to use the humidifier, which I tried and it didn't work. And then I'm rubbing Vicks all over my face and, that wasn't cool either because then I really smelled and I don't like smelling. So, So I did get used to it after a while. It took me almost 8 months to a year to really get used to it and I hated it. You are required to have at least 4 hours a night. 70% of the time you have to have 4 hours. At my company, we do a monitoring. I pay $1.25 a week, I think, for them to monitor it through the sleep study company, which is Cardinal Sleep. I found out later that Cardinal Sleep is a lot bigger than what I thought they were because they're the ones on Amazon that sell all the different parts for the CPAP machines, the filters and the tubing and things like that. So I originally thought it was just some little company that was connected to my company, but it turns out they're not. Let's see, so I'll talk about the machine. I have the machine right here. Here is my machine, and you have that hose there. Now, on the side, you have these little filters. This is a filter that is supposed to be changed every few months, and you can wash these out. Mine doesn't really get that dirty, but that's because I also use a HEPA filter, which this one's filthy, so I have to replace this. This one I think I replace once a month, but it's not a requirement. It's just that I use them. I have a cat, and like I said, it looks so much more dirty. It's filthy right now. So I'll put that back in. Mine does have a humidifier on it. I did see people commenting online about they didn't have inverters in their trucks and how are they supposed to plug it in and that kind of thing. I do have a 12-volt adapter and I just had it sitting here to show you, but I bought it from my company. My company store had the 12-volt adapters. I think that's awesome because usually you have your refrigerator plugged into your inverter or things like that. People plug their TVs, so you don't necessarily need the inverter for the CPAP. I do know that some trucks have older inverters though, and they have a more powerful inverter for the CPAP. So if you have a problem where your CPAP keeps shorting out, make sure you go to your company and ask them to replace the inverter with a higher powered inverter. When it comes to cleaning the machine, this is the So Clean. I think this is actually a So Clean 2. It doesn't say it on there though, but I think it's a So Clean 2. And what you do is it's got this little tube. You push into the base of the CPAP, and then you connect your air tube onto this end. So it actually pushes some kind of oxygen, some special oxidized whatever, and then you get replacements every 6 months. You need to replace this. It comes in a kit. It does have a filter also inside, so those need to be replaced every 6 months. You can leave this hooked up to the CPAP and just leave it there. And the cool thing about this machine is that not only does it like sanitize it and get 99% of the bacteria, but it also does whatever water you might still have in the water reservoir. That's the So Clean. That's like $300. That's one choice of a cleaning machine. You don't need to use a cleaning machine. Their recommendations are to actually take the machine into the shower with you when you get clean. You know, not like you're not already carrying your shower bag and maybe towels. And, you know, I'm a woman, so I carry more stuff. And I go solo for 6 or 7 months, and then I'll take a student. Well, when I take a student, I have to take everything off my truck so that I have room, and I put it in a storage locker back home, and then I come back out on the road. So what happened was I could not find the So Clean machine, and I'm lazy. I admit it. I'm lazy. I don't want to sit there and scrub that thing and haul it around and everything. So I went and bought a ROTWKI. This is what, and it comes in this little pouch. This is probably so much... It's so much smaller. So if you have if you have a lightweight truck, or you really don't have the room, this is considered a travel item. And all you do is plug one end of your CPAP hose into this, and you plug the other end into the machine, and it will clean the machine. You then use this bag. You have to run it twice. You run one time to clean the machine, and then one time you have the hose connected to this end, one end of the hose connected to this, and then you put the mask with the other end of the hose into this bag, and you run it a second time. So each time it runs 20 minutes. To do the whole machine, you have to run one with it connected to the machine and one with it connected to the mask. It's rechargeable, no plugs. It has a charger that goes in here on one end and goes into a USB port in another. So we have, 12 volt adapters all over the place in these trucks. So, it's not a big deal. You don't need an inverter or anything like that. This one, you do need an inverter because it does not have a 12 volt adapter for the So Clean. Personally, I like the So Clean better. The So Clean, all you do is you put the mask in after it's connected to the machine. You hit the button and it will go red for 7 minutes. Both of these machines use oxygen to clean. So you'll hear bzzz. The So Clean does it 7 minutes, and then it goes yellow. You'll get an amber light, and you leave it in for 2 hours, and it continues to sanitize. When you have this one, the smaller one, you have to do it once to the machine and then once to the mask, 20 minutes apiece. You get seven runs per charge if you fully charge the machine. And they were both basically I think they were both $299, $300. You could probably find them cheaper on Amazon, but I bought mine directly from the sleep company that tested me out. And this one I got back in Jersey at a medical supply store. Hi guys, thank you for watching Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me. I hope that you're gonna enjoy all of my episodes, and if you do, you like and comment and share this video with everybody you know. And even if you don't, I don't care. You can go ahead and comment and tell me your problem and your situation anyway. I want to hear all the stories that you have that are related to whatever my topic of the day is. So until next time, be safe out there, and I hope to see you out here trucking along. Bye.